second gear, second gear, third gear, second gear. There we go. Today you join me from the driver's seat of a 1987 Mark II Golf, and the start of this video is going to consist of me navigating this rather low Mark II with a clutch that's hard to find, up and down this country lane. Oh, that's the hardest bit done. This is Jack's car, and I must say a massive thank you to Jack for letting me take his car out now. This car is nigh on 30 years old now, so I wanted to grab it and see what 30 years of driving around, motorway mileage and stuff has done to this little 1.6 Mark II Golf. This one has the 1.8 litre cam in it. It has a Weber carb and a full stainless steel exhaust system. First thing that's thrown me off though is the fact that there's a manual choke in this, so we still are on choke at the moment, and this is one of the first cars I've actually done for the channel with a manual choke on it. The quirkiness of an old school VW I wanted to grab and sort of capture in this shoot. I love the fact that, you know, the steering is very sloppy. I mean, it's got that much play in it. The gearbox has a good bit of play in it as well, but I love that. I love the old school feel of these VWs. The Mark II itself is really cheap and, you know, easy to get hold of these days. Heat fit windows as well, always going down a charm. So first impressions, we're jumping in this Mark II Golf. It's got a great charm to it, and that's why I sort of love classic cars. This has got a lot more charm and a lot more character, and a lot more feel for it. You know, you feel the road, you feel sort of the steering, although, you know, relatively vague. Second gear, second gear, third gear, second gear. There we go. So yeah, this is a daily driver for Jack. He enjoys driving this to work and back, which is a true testament to this old school VW. It's still got a really new car feel to it though, although, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not slanting the fact that it's relatively vague to drive, because every classic car is relatively vague to drive. Although this is a 30-year-old car, you can still daily drive it, you can still enjoy it, the heating still works. Suspension on this is FK coilovers, and it was actually bought like this from the previous owner. Now, funny story about this car actually that I wanted to delve into on this shoot. Now, Jack himself wanted a Mark II Golf since he was a child, since he was, you know, 13, 14 years old. He really wanted one, and it was an achievable, you know, goal for him to actually buy. So he was cruising on eBay one night with a bit of cash in his pocket, and he wanted one. He wanted to find one and buy it. So he actually bidded on this one and accidentally bought it, which is quite a cool thing really. Accidentally buying one of the cars that you've always wanted is pretty cool. So he bought the car actually without seeing it. He saw a couple of pictures and thought, do you know what, yeah, I'll go for it. On actually approaching the car, he noticed, you know, a lot more dings, dents, rust and stuff like that, but you're gonna get it from a classic car. He paid the money, he took the car away, and on the way back, the clutch went. Bit annoying, bit of one of those things, you know, but an eventful start to this car's life in Jack's hands. So although this car has an upgraded cam, and it has the Weber carbs on it, it doesn't actually have a rev gauge, so I couldn't tell you exactly when the cam comes in, but as the car is nice and warm and we have a hashtag cheeky B road in front of us, let's see what she's got. Do you know, it drives straight and true, but it's no race car. Let's just say that, it's no race car. But that's not what it's about in these old school V-dubs. It's the cool factor, it's the, you know, niceness of an old school car, and this captured it fantastically. It's still really nice to drive, the clutch is nice and light, the pedal feel from the brakes and the accelerator is still very, very good. It's been kept up well, and you know, this one has 114,000 miles in it, which in 30 years I don't think's a lot. Other little enhancements include, you know, a couple of stickers around the car. It's got purple wheels on it. You still have that old school vibe of a classic V-dub. It does track very straight and true though, this car. You do sort of get on it and get up in the revs and get up in the speeds. It's not too shabby. You don't get a lot of road noise, you know, to be expected from an old school car. There isn't a lot in this, and it's really easy to drive. You could daily drive this very, very easily, this car. Now, I'm not going to rev this car out, and I'm not going to test its limits or anything, because it's an old school car, and I respect the fact that this is a daily driver for Jack, and it's one of his sort of cars that he's wanted for a long time. And I want to not necessarily preach that to people, but, you know, let you guys know that it's okay to have a, you know, affordable car like this. It's okay to, you know, want something that's achievable, and this to me is an achievable car for everyone. The old school cool factor will always diminish a new car on finance or whatever, so if you're into your old school cars and you want one of these for your first car, second car, you know, early on in your driving career, something like that, go and do it, because they're an awesome little car, and you can work on these cars yourself. If there's a problem, you can probably fix it by the side of the road with a couple of tools, which is a lot to be said for the newer cars. So the old school character, the old school feel, and the cool factor you'll have with, you know, the Mark II Golf being in your possession is well worth it. And if you're willing to modify it as well, there's an awesome scene behind these. You know, the Mark II, the Mark I, you know, there's an awesome V-dub scene behind it. There's more than enough modified parts as well to help you along the way. So guys, what are my overall thoughts on this Mark II Golf? Now, I think it's an achievable first car, second car, you know, something that you can get in your early driving years. The one things to look out for though are obviously rust. On any classic car, you want to make sure that these aren't too rusty, make sure they're past their MOT. I just love that Jack is still bringing this car out on a daily basis, using it for work, using it, you know, for its intended purpose. This being, you know, a four-door was probably someone's family car at some point. So, you know, bringing it into the world as a four-door family car that was just a normal car at the time, and 30 years on, a young kid driving it around as, you know, his second car, pretty awesome in my books, and it's a legacy that wants to be kept going. And I don't want to bang on about, you know, classic cars being, you know, what you should be buying, because, you know, reliability issues and, you know, new car finance, don't get me wrong, it's all good. But I just think, you know, if you're even into cars and you want, you know, a classic car, go for it for one of your first, second, third cars. So guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Make sure you head over to FYDapparel.com, cop yourself some FYD merch to support the channel, and I'll see you all on the next video. Cheers guys.